Welcome into another edition of Game Changers. Here we go. I can't even get through the intro
whiteboards
ever.
At home. Sorry, we can't do the show today. We don't have whiteboards.
You don't have the whiteboards? You miss the whiteboards that much?
I do.
Well, when you come up with the topics, then we'll start adding the whiteboards. How about that, Mr. Bocamper?
You never asked me. You asked me, I delivered.
I think it's implied you're always able to contribute.
Yeah.
Maybe the whiteboards went the way of Vic Fangio.
Relationships go two ways there.
Wow.
Kim, if that is your real name.
All right.
If that's your real name.
Next time, don't be afraid to get closer to the iron, by the way.
Okay.
Oh.
So, all right. We're starting with the shots early. We were going to talk about the AFC, NFC championship games to start the show, but there was some big breaking Dolphins news this week. Vic Fangio no longer the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, and depending on who you ask, some were surprised, some weren't surprised. So I ask you guys, Goldie, start with you first. You surprised Vic's no longer here?
Personally, I was surprised. I mean, I know a lot of people weren't. Obviously, a totally different personality than Mike McDaniel, and I guess some of the defensive players. You know, when someone's done all the stuff, all the garbage kind of comes out.
Dirty laundry came out.
So you have Cam Smith on X. You have Javon Holland apparently on Twitter or on Instagram. Yeah. Look. In retrospect, should not be shocking because he and Mike McDaniel, you talk about two different personalities, but coming in, I'm not going to be a phony. Last offseason, here's Javon on Instagram. I thought it might work out okay that, hey, Vic, you run the defense, and here's Cam Smith unlocking, as he never got on the field.
Right.
I thought it might work out okay that they were different, but obviously a parting of the ways. And, but overall, and maybe you're not, Bo, I was surprised to see.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I kind of looked at him all year long as a foot in, foot out.
Yep.
You got one foot in the door, you got one foot out the door. You're kind of peeking over your shoulder what's going on up in Philadelphia because he was there last year, helping them with their stretch run down the way. So you knew. And then look, you look at Vic. Vic's what? Almost he's mid 60s. You got Mike. How old's Mike? 39, 40?
40s. Yeah, 40.
41. And then that's a big gap of a football time and how you believe in football and how you coach football and how you go at it. Vic is a no-nonsense. You do it my way or you're going to be sitting down, and that's what happened to some of these players. And no doubt about that. But you gave the defensive, and I thought he did a pretty good job with that defense with all the breakdown. Now, Cam Smith, Vic's not the only guy that doesn't have good words for Cam Smith. There's a lot of stuff going about Cam Smith that, hey, this guy's not the guy you think he is. You might want to get him in the classroom. You might want to get him to practice on time.
Yeah,
you might want to get him here or there.
Where is that coming from? Is that coming from Fangio?
Wherever it's coming from.
You may find that out.
Right? Wherever it's coming.
What about Channing Tindall? Couldn't get on the field.
Wherever it's coming from, neither one of those two guys set a foot on the field when the real game started, except for Channing on some special team play.
Not much.
And late in the game, when their last chance to put a linebacker in would have been you.
Well, they brought in guys instead of putting Tyndall on the field. They brought in guys off the couch that were 35 years old for a playoff.
That just screamed to me that Vic Fangio had trust issues with the younger players. Honestly.
No doubt.
So you think it's an equation? So there's two different things.
I guarantee you didn't touch Cam Smith. No way.
There's two different things. It's either the performance of the player, the preparation, Smith, Tyndall, or to your point, is it Vic Fangio saying, I don't like young guys in general? To me, I would think he put the best guys on the field.
So you mentioned this earlier. Let's look at that defensive room. In that defensive room is coming with an old school guy like Vic, who's a Bill Cowher, a Don Shula, a Chuck Noll.
Kim Bocamper.
He's one of those guys.
Bocamper, right.
And you could throw me in there. Although I've never been a coach. I did coach my daughters in softball, got in a fight there. But
of course.
But that being said.
Other team or parent?
So if you're a defensive player and you're in that meeting room and you walk in there and you're on pins and needles because you know you're going to get ripped, and you're looking at the room behind you, and everyone's going, hey, we got the lemonade today.
They're figuring out the next celebration.
Bring me some of these cakes. Bring me the cake I earned.
I like the cake.
They're happy in there and everything. Good. Meanwhile, these guys are miserable as can be. Look, I would have liked to kept Vic. I believe in him as a defensive coordinator. I wish he would put more of himself into it because I saw some things I really liked that he did. But, hey.
I think there's no doubt he did a good job because the defense was good. But I think at the end of the day, maybe it was just rubbing certain players the wrong way.
It was oil and water.
So you don't think any of it's performance related?
His performance?
So. No, I think he did a good.
Well, you couldn't stop Tennessee up by 2 scores late in the game.
Well, how about that offense who couldn't put another point on?
They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't extend.
Same thing in the Buffalo game. Same thing in the Buffalo game.
Same thing, and I'll say same thing about the offense.
Offense was bad in the second half.
Same thing in the Buffalo game.
Offense and special teams cost.
So all bad football down the stretch.
So let me put this.
Offense and special teams cost the Buffalo game more than the defense.
Did bad offense help the defense or hurt the defense?
End of Tennessee.
Yeah.
In Baltimore and
Buffalo.
Home against Buffalo in the second half, offense and special teams
buried them.
Lost it.
Yes.
All right, well, Vic's not
more
here.
than the defense.
Vic's not here anymore, so he's someone else's problem. But Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa, they're going to go to the AP Honors Awards because Tyreek Hill he's a nominee for Offensive Player of the Year. Tua, nominee for Comeback Player of the Year. You think any of these guys come back with some hardware?
Well, he may be losing some hardware. I don't know what this is.
Here's my big question to you, Bo Camp. Here's my big question for you.
There we go.
After the way the season ended.
Yes.
Do you care about the awards?
No.
I don't think they do.
No.
Is it hollow at this point?
So here's
you know what? But when you're at the Super Bowl and you're on the red carpet for the NFL honors, I think it matters.
I'm not saying for them. Yeah. For them, it's nice. Do you care?
Do you?
Yeah, I'd like to see
I've never watched that show.
I'd like to see him win it.
Yeah.
And this year's on CBS. You should try. I think it's on CBS.
I won't watch that either.
Well, anything on CBS you have to watch.
Yeah, but you got players there.
It's not bite the hand.
And then you got entertainers and actors up there, like trying to be the football guys. I don't know.
I still like to see Tyreek win some stuff because
I like Tyreek,
because he had such a great year, and I think it's gotten lost a little bit.
Let's go to Tua
in the way it's in
this. So he's going to the honors. Mm-hmm. He's a starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl. He got the most fan votes. Mm-hmm. Certainly a popular guy. But when you look at all the national people give me the top 5 quarterbacks. His name never comes up.
Top 5 if you had to play a game today?
Top 5 season this year for sure. All right.
If you had to play a game today, but he's 7th or 8th then.
Did he?
Well, he led the league in passing yards.
He doesn't want to hear that. All right, we're going to move on.
I mean, they did make the playoffs.
Now he's putting words in my mouth.
There are
little bit you are. That's because you criticize.
There are 3 NFL games left on the schedule. 2 of them next week. We're going to talk about the AFC, NFC title games when we come back here on Game Changers, and hopefully Bo can just zip it up.
Send it to the cleaners or something.
Game Changers is sponsored by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Shop your 7 passenger favorites at VWFlorida.com.
All right, guys, time to talk about the NFC and the AFC title game. I could ask you who you think's going to win. We could do this.
You don't do that, though.
It'll be the quick road to the 49ers and the Ravens. But I want to know, who do you want to win? What do you want to see in terms of a production on Super Bowl Sunday? Since you like it, who do you want to see in the Super Bowl?
Well, here's who I want to see in the Super Bowl on CBS.
Yes.
You'll be watching that,
Bo. I'll be watching that.
I want to see the Kansas City Chiefs. And I want to see the Detroit Lions because I want a full week of Taylor Swift against Eminem. You asked the question.
That's not bad.
I want to see Taylor Swift against Eminem. I want to see Travis Kelce's brother in the box with Taylor Swift, hanging out in Vegas all week. Because to me, the Taylor Swift stuff, I'm not one of these curmudgeons. I think it's awesome. I think when you have these little girls at the championship game in Buffalo with signs and Taylor waves to them.
In freezing weather.
And she makes their day. She makes their life. I think it's great entertainment. The Lions have never been there.
Yep.
And I do think, I'm a big, not that I don't like Lamar Jackson, I love Lamar.
Yeah.
I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan, man. And if he gets it done during this, it would be awesome. And, of course, the Lions, great story. They've never been to a Super Bowl. Everybody loves Dan Campbell. Jared Goff was left on the side of the road. But mainly, it's because of Eminem and Taylor Swift. I want to see the Lions.
I'm a gigantic Dan Campbell fan.
Taylor Swift
gigantic
Eminem fan?
I like,
3-1-3.
I like the peanut M&Ms better.
Not the same thing.
Oh, not the same thing?
Not the same, but I like where you're going with that. Sure.
I like
Give me
Dan.
one of those, Bo.
I love Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell. Love Dan Campbell. Want to see him get in there. But I want to see the Baltimore Colts.
3-1-3. Come on,
Baltimore Ravens.
3-1-3.
I want to see the Baltimore Ravens in there because over the last month, they have become a nasty, I want to hurt you football team.
From a football standpoint, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Just a nasty bunch. Defensively, they want to rip your head off.
The Harbaugh's to win another championship?
I don't care. I want to see
on.
those tough guys against Detroit's tough guys.
Yeah.
That tough guy coach against this tough guy coach. No powder puffs, no this and that. Just a dogfight for 60 minutes on a national stage in the biggest game in the world.
That leads me to a question for you guys because it's a great point. If that occurs, and we know all sports is copycat. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins, I see it like the Vegas beat the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final. Everyone's trying to get big defensemen and block the front of the net. Yeah. You know, do you think teams look at the way they run their teams and say, you know what, maybe we got to go back to a little bit of nastiness, a little bit of physicality,
it's
more
cyclical.
than
it's cyclical.
Yeah, but
for
look
sure,
at the four coaches that are in the Super Bowl. They're all tough coaches. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Dan Campbell, and who's the
Shanahan.
And Shanahan. Shanahan's the only young guy. Shanahan's the only guy that's verging on that. You know that let's get it. You know, let's kind of lighten up on these guys a little bit. All of them are tough guy coaches, and they're in the Super Bowl. In the chase for the Final Four.
I would like to see the 49ers in almost for that point because I would like to see if that new school kind of thing can translate well into those games.
They saw Baltimore a few weeks ago. I don't know they want to see them again.
Even though Mahomes and the Chiefs have run similar things with the way their offense is kind of.
You got to root for Brock Purdy, don't you?
See, there you go. There you go.
Right. I got to root for
By the way,
Purdy.
every quarterback. Let me tell you this: every quarterback projected to be in the top 25 in college football makes more than that guy.
Yeah.
That guy makes $870 grand.
They're still in college.
They're all making more money than Brock Purdy, who might win the Super Bowl.
And all the people ripping this guy, saying he's not a good quarterback. If I just told you, hey, I'm not going to tell you what the name is, 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, would you take that as your starting quarterback? Every single person on the planet would say yes. That is Brock Purdy.
If they didn't have that guy, they would be in cap purgatory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He saved that football team in two different ways. A, they don't have to worry about the money they sent away with that guy that they trade up for and give him 3 draft picks. And B, he's got he gives you salary cap room for another year.
Yep.
And
3 years with this guy at a low number.
And see, they reportedly couldn't get Tom Brady to come back.
Right. But the beauty of Brock Purdy is he says, well, I understand why you wanted him to come back. He's the greatest ever. And the guy is also great attitude.
How much you pay him? How much you pay him? He wins a Super Bowl.
If he wins it, you got to give him huge.
Still on that rookie deal. You worry about it in 2 years.
You know, but either way, to you guys, the conversation. I'm really looking forward not only to Sunday, but to the championship game no matter what. The Super Bowl no matter what.
I like your choice because I think it's the best show, and at the end of the day, this is still sports and entertainment.
Come on, Bo, ready? 3-1-3.
Everybody in the 3-1-3.
Okay.
All right,
what's Detroit's
3-1-3? Still to come
there you go.
3-1-3.
3-1-3.
The Miami Heat could hit a couple threes.
8 mile.
What's 8 miles?
We're talking about the Terry Rozier trade when we come back here on Game Changers. Will it work for the Miami Heat? We'll be right back. Welcome back to Game Changers, where Kim Bokamper is still trying to figure out the Bally Sports app so you can watch some of these Panther games.
It's not that difficult, dude. You just download the app and you log in.
Well, I tell you what, it might be a good thing you can't catch the Heat games then.
Wait, what happened to your guys' season ticket thing? The two of you.
Still waiting. You
were going to get season
He didn't want to go upper bowl. He didn't want to go upper bowl.
Oh, excuse me.
Bougie bottom bowler.
It was too much money for
him.
Oh, it was too.
No, I was not for me. I wasn't paying. He was buying. So.
Wait, he was going to buy season tickets and split them with you?
We were going to split them.
And you're complaining? Come on, man.
I was going to get season tickets. They were going to be.
What does Goldie always say? If it's free, it's for me.
I'll take 3.
They're going to be $75 a game.
Okay. Very fair price.
And I got tickets right next to him for 50, so I got mine for 50. His were 75.
Exactly.
And he said no.
All right. Speaking of deals,
this is never going to end.
No. The Miami Heat trade for Terry Rozier. Bo, Good move for
23 points. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, they
Bring
need
it in.
they need it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the move because I look. But they need to figure out how to get him, Bam, and
on the same page.
And Butler
Jimmy,
all in the same. They're all going to be. It seems like they're frayed.
Yeah.
They're going in different directions. And that Heat. I'm not even going to say the culture, but the Heat. That passing the ball, moving it around, looking for the good shots, taking them in, driving the lane, banging the boards and all that. It just seems to be fraying at the edges. Mm-hmm. Maybe by making this change, they can bring it in a little tighter, and have and plus pick up somebody that at least is going to come in and maybe and give you at least a dozen points.
Yeah, I like
on a bad night and could give you 35 on a good night.
I like it because it's just a new blood, a new face, a new voice maybe in there. A guy who's a vet who they've had problems with back in his days against Boston. I do like the move. Goldie, I want to ask you another thing about the Heat. This past week, there was a beef on social media between Udonis Haslem and Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce saying basically that UD's jersey was given, not earned. Why does no one talks about Paul Pierce? Why is this guy still in love with the Heat?
You just answered your own question.
They have beef.
Yeah, because no one's talking about him.
He's been a guy that always wants to be in the spotlight, was a great player.
Yeah.
Got to give it to him as a player.
Yeah.
Try to hang around and be in the spotlight, and you hit it on the head. Nobody talks about him, so he interjected himself into UD, Mr. 305, and the Heat's business. And guess what? Here on Game Changers, what are you doing?
We're talking about him.
You hit it on the head. But I
think
think
we have to say it out loud, bro. No one's talking about you. Stop dragging other people
That's
into
why
the
he's-
Heat and Celtics had a run there for a while where it was bitter.
It was nasty.
Sure,
I loved it.
It was bitter. It was physical.
He's not a Heat
it
fan,
was all
right?
that thing.
And
so
they ended up,
I don't give a fine with him.
They ended up on the losing end every single time, and he's still taking L's for this.
That's probably why.
And it looks so bad when he comes out and says he has a better career than Dwayne Wade. It's like, my God, like, what are we doing?
Keeping yourself in the spotlight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like Ocho Cinco. Keeping yourself relevant.
Another guy.
Keeping yourself relevant even though you're not so relevant.
Hey, by the way.
Doc Rivers,
by the way.
back.
Doc's back again.
Hey, ABC.
40 million.
You got rid of Van Gundy because you thought he was going to coach again. How's that working out?
Right. Look
Doc Rivers is
Doc
gone.
got 40 million to go to the bench.
Mike Breen on the podcast. Thanks for your weeks of service.
Amazing.
Amazing. So good. Also so good this week, Goldie.
Who they got to pull with him? Doris Burke now?
Yeah, Doris is going to be alone. Well, they might bring someone back in. We'll see how it goes.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They missed out on Van Gundy.
The Panthers this week dropping the gloves with the Coyotes right off the bat, Goldie. I gotta imagine you love this stuff.
So I'm watching the pregame skate the other night, okay? And what it goes back to quickly, first game of 2024, one of the Coyotes runs Nick Cousins from behind. It's a penalty. The guy gets suspended. Cousins is still out with a concussion. Before the game, I'm watching Lomberg come on the ice. He goes right to the red line at center ice, starts yapping with the guy that hit Cousins. Overcomes Jonah Gadjevich. Overcomes, of course, Matthew Tkachuk because he's got to get a piece of this thing. 3 of the Coyotes guys come over. The guy that actually hit Cousins, he's done with. He fought that night against Forsling, so he's finished with it. But the Coyotes tough guys, okay, you guys want a piece? Everybody dances right off the face-off, little old-school hockey. Then the Panthers go out and kick their butt. They score 6 goals.
Are the Panthers becoming the Broad Street Bullies, or what we the Panther Parkway?
There is got to come up with a name.
Panther Parkway.
I'm not sure yet.
There's no ring to it.
1,000%.
We'll think about it in the break.
I will say 1,000%. The Panthers.
Why is it always got to be personal?
The Panthers are fine initiating a lot of this stuff. Teams don't want to play them. They're not only a great talented team, but they're nasty, and I think it does fire them up and pump them up. This up when things like this happen.
Let me ask you a question: Did they carry I could use a couple words, but an upset disposition out of last year and start right back with it in training camp?
For sure, they were not satisfied to be there.
They don't want that slow start they had last year. They just want to start rolling right off the bat. That's what I'm seeing out of these guys?
I think it's all part of it. They weren't just happy to, it was a nice year. We made it to the. They were angry they didn't win it.
Perfect.
They were angry they were too injured to really compete at a high enough level against Vegas.
So they polish up their pads a little.
By the way,
they were a team that likes that style. Did that hurt you? Yeah.
If you missed the fight or the highlights, Bo, YouTube.com help you out.
What.com? Can you get that?
No, I can't. I can't get the.
You know where to find that?
Come up on Game Changers. We'll talk about what's
2020.
How can I
try to
see
figure
you guys?
something out a nickname for the
Tell them it's 2024.
How do I see you?
Welcome back to Game Changers. NFL rules got in the headlines this week after, I think it was Isaiah Pacheco. It was Mecole Hardman. Fumbled through the end zone.
Because they did a good job with it?
Yeah, because I think they did a good job with it. Mecole Hardman fumbles through the end zone, becomes Bills' ball. Everyone wants to take a look at this rule. Should opposing defenses now get the ball back if you fumble through the end zone, Goldie?
No.
Well, I don't mind it either way, to be honest. It's a game.
I think they should get it back.
It's a total changer, no pun intended. It's a total game changer. I mean, a fumble when you're driving and all of a sudden you lose possession. I think that, and honestly, the first down on illegal use of the hands on the defense on some of these 3rd and 20s, another tough call.
Well,
so I know the XFL/USFL, whatever they're calling themselves, they have changed the rule. It seems like there's a groundswell to change it, and they probably will.
I don't think the fumble through the end zone. I don't think the fumble through the end zone should go away. I don't.
Okay.
I think that rule is hard. Look, this league over the last 20 years or so has given every rule change to help the offense score. That's one thing that helps the defense. Look at that play. Look at what that play did in that game.
Sure.
They looked like they're going to go in and score. Boom. Now all of a sudden, whoa, whole different ball game. And that's what football's all about. But you can't just take away rules when you see it and it didn't go your way. I didn't like the way that looked. That rule has been there for as soon as it happened. I looked over at the guy sitting next to me and go, no, that's going to go. That's going to come back. Yeah. It's going to be a touchback.
You know what? This is the best way to end the show. You and I agreeing on something.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for watching Game Changers. Next week, I'm sure we'll find some way to argue.
If there is a next week.
If there is a next week.
Bo Camper's on double secret probation. Mr. Blutarski, 0.0.
We'll see you next week on Game Changers.